What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. It's K.L.P Aftermath Morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
All right, Mike. Microphone check, 1, channel 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we here. We made it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome not only to another episode of the K.L.P Aftermath podcast, but you guys are tuned into a very, 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 very special episode. This is the 2024 wrap-up podcast. Yes. First and foremost, I hope everyone have been having a glorious, and I do mean this, guys, a glorious, glorious holiday season. We wished everybody a Merry Christmas, right, T, on K.L.P Aftermath, and then we wished everybody a happy holiday on What Happened Was podcast, as well as the Spectrum podcast. And, you know, we did our social media. We hope everyone is having a great, fantastic, happy new year. Is 2025. We here, man. We made it. So what you guys are getting in this episode is going to be a little different. Typically on any other radio show, we would do, you know, news, and we will be in the studio, and we would do our thing on our regular scheduled programming. But this podcast episode, we have no news. We have no topics of conversation that's going viral on the internet in this episode. This episode is dedicated to 2024 and the full year that we've had. So it's going to be kind of a chill, laid back episode, which I needed to do a chill episode, which is great because I don't want to say I'm super sick, but I feel that I'm coming down a little bit under the weather. Not like sick as in like terribly sick. It's just my throat is nubbing. It's normal. So that's why I've got my hot tea. I got my halls in as backup. It's just one of those things that, hey, nature takes its course, and it's just, I guess it's the time for me to get a little, just a little I want to say, and I'm because I'm saying to God too, T, it's throat knob. I don't want to say that I'm sick because I don't want to be sick, but you can hear it in my voice a little bit. So I'm taking it a little slow, and I got my tea. But that's not going to deter our recording. That's not going to deter this podcast episode. Now, I wanted to do a wrap up. Obviously, each year I try my very best to do some sort of wrap up. So I thought it was very fitting to do it here at the mansion here in Atlanta. You guys are going to see behind the scene clips of it. So if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you probably saw like the behind the scenes part that we're inserting now and then as the intro. But if you're listening to us, thank you, but you won't be able to see it because it's an audio version. So whatever tickles your fancy of where you listen to our show, we've got some great things coming out. First and foremost, let's get the new stuff coming out. This wrap-up episode is kind of dedicated for, and we'll talk about it too, because I did want to do a keynote, but I think I'm going to skip the keynote and just say it all on this episode. So you're getting the price of two for one in this episode. Typically, what I was gonna do is do like a little keynote here, but since my throat's kind of knobbing, I want to do less talking this weekend, so that way I can rest and recover. Because I got some plans on New Year's, and I can't be sick on New Year's. Let's get to the K.L.P Entertainment news first, and then we'll talk about the full year of just full year of me of 2024. And I wanted to do 2024 year wrap up because this year has been, it's been a big year. It's been emotional. It's been mentally affected. It's been physically affected. We've had some really lows, but we had some really, really highs. So this has been one hell of a roller coaster year. But let's get to the news. What's coming next? And this is I guess the keynote part that we're gonna do. Again, sorry folks if you were. I wanted to do a separate video for the keynote, but again, I'm trying to rest my voice because I feel like is going away for the next 2 days. So keynote. Very, very exciting. You guys saw it on my social media. The Browns. Yes. The Browns. The Browns will be a exclusive from K.L.P Entertainment. I'm very, very excited because a lot of my friends who saw the intro to the show on social media, it's available on social media right now, my Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, it's everywhere. So the Browns is going to be a new show that we are producing. It's going to be a limited mini series. Now, when I say limited mini series with the Browns, it is these characters, this family of 8 that's navigating through life. Where Laverne Brown, he's a businessman who does construction, and then his wife Loretta Brown is a consultant in the dentist industry, and then they have 4 beautiful, beautiful kids. You got Junior Brown, who is, he's your average teenage boy that's going through some stuff as a teenage boy. You got Misty Brown. She's the average teenage girl, but, she's trying to navigate her way through life when it comes down to herself, her insecurities that she might have. She's navigating through relationships. And the same thing with Junior Brown. He's navigating through his insecurities and his things, and he's trying to be the best in high school, be the cool dude in high school. And then you got the twins, the Brown twins. You got Ziggy and Zayla Brown. Those are the twins. They're just kids that just have a great imagination and just very quirky. But then you can't forget the grandparents. You got Laverne's dad, Papa Brown, and then you got Loretta's mom, Mama Brown. No relations. They're not married, but they're going to, kind of shield the Browns, and they're going to be a part of the family. So I'm very, very excited for that little mini series. Now, the Browns will be about 3 to 7 minutes long. So it's not going to be full episodes, like 30, 40-minute episodes, because obviously we've got so many shows and things to do. We don't have the time to do a full 30, 40-minute episode of the Browns. So we said, hey, let's just do 3 to 7. We're going to have it for Facebook and Spotify video, Amazon Live, Instagram, TikTok, and then just kind of give people a little taste of K.L.P Entertainment technology. And you guys just have a fun time watching it. This ranges from 3 to 7 minutes, and it's a sitcom. So we're going to have the sitcom vibe of it. We're going to have each episode is going to be different. Each episode is not going to be it's not going to be a storyline, y'all. It's not going to be to where the story starts and then it continues on a certain story. Each episode is going to be completely different. So the Browns, y'all. Yes. Fully animated episodes. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what we do. Hopefully you guys love it when the Browns come out for sure, starting in January. Speaking of coming out in January, let's talk about Primetime in the Morning. Yeah. So Primetime in the Morning. So what we're doing with Primetime in the Morning, they're going to be taking over the Spectrum podcast. It's not to say that the Spectrum podcast is going away. It's just when we get new technology and new equipment in the studio, we always look at K.L.P Entertainment. We always look at ways to kind of be innovative, right? We look at ways to say, hey, how can we make K.L.P Entertainment different from the other guys? How can we continue to be one of the top 3 radio platforms of Atlanta, right? That's us. So Primetime in the Morning is going to be featuring Edith Sharp and Ruben Larkin, 2 radio personalities that are going to be talking about everyday news. That episode is going to range between 30 to 50 minutes within the radio show each morning. We've got our intro from commercialkings.com. Shout out to them. Yeah. We got our intro ready to go. Edith and Ruben, they're ready to go. They're ready to get started. I'm going to be head of AR and producer for that show. So that is a show where I get to not be in front of the mic, in front of the camera, take a step back and produce their show. And we're going to try to make it weekly. Obviously, like I just mentioned, we've got 1,000 things going on at one time. So if we miss a day or two, that's fine. But we're going to be doing that. That's going to be one of the big pilot shows for K.L.P Entertainment when it comes down to our radio shows as well. So I'm very, very excited for that. Look forward to Edith and Ruben doing their shine behind the mic, audio only for their show. It's going to be audio only, but it's going to be very, very exciting. So I can't wait for that as well. Moving on to our films. So we got to talk about the films, y'all, because the films is the thing that started it all. Now, so films. I'm super, super excited. You guys seen it on social media platforms of ours. Yes, we've got 2 movies that's coming out at the beginning Q1 of 2025, and that is Syndicate and Street Style Back in the A. Yes. So let's talk about Syndicate real quick. So Syndicate is the 3rd installment, and everybody know, hey, we know what this is, but yes, it is true. It is the 3rd installment of Eden Prime. Yes. Eden Prime has been, I want to say Eden Prime is one of our first films that we've ever produced and have it out for Amazon Prime Video, to which you guys can watch now. If you haven't seen the first one, you can stream it now on Amazon Prime Video. Eden Prime was the first movie that we wrote, the first fully fledged animated movie for a streaming network, and I've never been so proud of that movie. Now, last year, we had the opportunity to produce Eden Prime, codename Atlas. So that's the sequel to the first movie. And now Syndicate will take place. It is the 3rd installment. Syndicate is going to be an Eden Prime story written by yours truly, Kennedy Lucas, where you get to follow before Codename Alex happened, there was another mission that Ava was on, and it was to find the Syndicate organization, join up with them, and search for Phenomenon. So this story takes place before Codename Atlas, but it takes place after the first movie. So we're kind of going back in time to really relive that. Hence the name Syndicate. Hence the name name change. But I'm very, very excited for that. It's going to be sort of a short film. It's about 1 hour and 18 minutes. So this is one of the shorter ones. But I think you guys are going to love it. We've got Nina Jones and Christopher Gore Smith. He's amazing, but he's not in this one. But Nina Jones and I come back. And when I come back, I don't play Francis Green in this one. I play a different character in this movie. And I hope that you guys enjoy it. We've had so much fun doing the Eden Prime series, and to really do a trilogy of a project is amazing. I never thought I would do it right with all my movies, but this is the first movie that we did this is the second movie we did a sequel, but this definitely won't be the last movie we do a trilogy. So shout out to the team for Kennedy Lucas Films, for Syndicate. We look for it for streaming networks to pick it up, and you guys just got to wait for it in 2025. So that's Syndicate. Now, the next documentary, I should say, Street Style Back in the A. I'm very, very excited for this one because this Street Style documentary is the first movie, because that's why I have to say to you, Eden Prime was the second one. Street Style is the first movie that I ever done a 4P. This is the 4th documentary of Street Style fashion. And we're heading back to Atlanta. Right here in Atlanta, we want to make sure that we tell the story of fashion in Atlanta, and that's exactly what we did. This has been a year film project, right? Trying to get, of course, Brian Cooper here in the studio. He's amazing. He did Street Style Forever, which that movie, all 3 of the movies, Street Style and New York Culture, Street Style Homecoming, and Street Style Forever, they're all streaming on Prime Video today. So if you haven't seen those, what are you waiting for? Go stream those episodes. Go stream those documentaries because they are available. Great documentary. I got to say, the third one's my favorite. Street Style Forever is my favorite because that's the first time we had Brian Cooper to come and do narration. He sounds amazing, and I said, hey, we need you for this fourth one, and he's coming back for the fourth. And in this movie, in this documentary, we're telling the story of fashion in Atlanta Fashion Week, right? We had Young Atlanta when we filmed one of their biggest fashion show at the Georgia Tech Stadium. That's featured in the documentary. We did I Am Streetwear Fashion when we streamed their episode, streamed their show. That made it into the documentary. We've got interviews that are in the documentary as well. So it is quite amazing for this one. We're telling the story of home, right? Because we're here in Atlanta. We're from Atlanta, so it's always a pleasure when I'm able to tell the fashion story of Atlanta. So I get so stoked for that. A lot of surprises are in this documentary, the fourth one, and I just can't wait for you guys to see it. Again, you can stream all the other three documentaries on Amazon Prime Video right now, but you guys wait for it. 2025 Street Style Back in the A is coming. And that wraps up the keynote part of the podcast, of course. Yes, we still have K.L.P Aftermath in 2025. Yes, we still have What Had Happened Was, a podcast with me and Evelyn Letitia. That show's not going anywhere. But we do have another podcast that's in the works. And this is a podcast that I've reached out to two of my friends out there on social media. This podcast that we are in development is still in the planning phase. It's going to be an all-women's podcast, right? I have two young ladies that will be coming into the studio to give their take on their everyday life and navigating through the trenches of their lifestyle for that podcast. And of course, I'll be head of AR. I will be the producer. I won't be in front of the camera, but this is a show that I'm letting my ladies shine. This one thing we do at K.L.P Entertainment. It's not always about me, right? Even though the company is called Kennedy Lucas Patterson Entertainment, K.L.P Entertainment, sometimes it's not about me. Sometimes I like to produce and give other people a voice, and I can't wait for that too, because now these two young ladies that I follow, I've been friends with them for a while. I see their Instagram stories. They talk about some really good stuff on their Instagram story. So I said, okay, what if you did a podcast, right? And they just need the know-how. They need the equipment. They need the person to put it together. So that's why I reached out to them, and they're all on board. 2025, we're going to start that podcast, an all-women's podcast. I cannot wait for that day to come where we produce, and you guys get to see the first look of it. So stay tuned. Trucking along. Man, this tea is so good, y'all. Let me tell you, when you got a sore throat, tea is the best option. And cough drops and NyQuil. I can't believe NyQuil, definitely, because NyQuil, I took some NyQuil last night, and boy, howdy, did I tell you, I was out. I was out like a light. I went straight to bed. I pounced on the bed, right? I was just so out. Okay. Now we got the K.L.P Entertainment news out the way and all that stuff out the way. You guys clicked on this episode because this is the 2024 podcast wrap up. Now, some things that I might mention here in the episode is not to offend anybody. There are some things that has happened that I won't talk about because some things that happened this year deals with family, and I just don't want to air our family business out there online. But I will talk about some dark things that I'm okay now, first and foremost, because I know a lot of people, when I talk about a depressing part of something on the podcast, people do reach out to me, my family members, my friend members. They text me and say, hey, I heard your latest episode. Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm great now. I'm super great. But I wanted to talk about this wrap up because 2024 has been a very, very interesting year, right? So let's talk about it. Let me save my tea for this one because I know where we're about to start. And I'm over it, right? This thing that happened at the beginning of the year 2024 It hurt me deeply. And this is it's so weird for me to do because on all of my podcasts I try to be positive, but this is the first time I've been vulnerable, and this is the first time that I talk about mental and physical health. Um, the beginning of the year was a little hard. Everybody knows I won't put the school name out on blast because that's not who I am. Like I say, I'm over it now. I'm blessed and highly favored today as the time of this recording. But back then I wasn't in the perfect state, y'all. As many people might know, I was hired to do a job at a college institution. And if you guys want to know what college institution that was, you guys can check my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is my full name, Kennedy Lucas Patterson. You're going to see me there. And just match up the months and days to the job position. Then you know what job I have because I'm working on something with another institution that I don't want to screw up. So I won't name the school on blast, but it is my Fifth Amendment right, freedom of speech. This is how I feel. And I have anything I can say anything on a broadcast because it's freedom of speech. But I wanted to make a difference, right? When you work at a college institution and you're in a certain leadership, community leadership role, it's a lot of expectations. It's a lot of pride. It's a lot of humbleness. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of excitement that you want to do to make a change. Now, any job that I've took, right, whether it's college institution, it's hospitality, or even my media company, I get very excited because I want to make a difference. I want to make a change. And beginning of the year was hard because I sense a bit of jealousy. I sense a bit of people not understanding my personality, right? Because anybody who worked with me, whether it's my media institution or hospitality, everybody knows that I like to sink my teeth in what I put my hands on. Meaning, I like to be the very, very best possible best self of myself when it comes down to a community. How can we make this different? How can we change? How can we be better? In the offices, right? Because at this institution I had an office. You know, I've learned that by myself. I don't like to be parked behind a desk all day. And that was in that position, that was the sense to where because I was, and I'll say this part, I was a director. I won't say what type of director because again, I don't want to put them out on blast like that, but I was a director. And I thought as a director, yeah, you do the task-oriented task on the computer, yes, but you also want to serve your community, right? And at this institution is very unique and different from other institutions that I've worked at in the past because it's in the heart of downtown, and I dealt with a lot of students who started rough, right? Because I've been there. I tell you guys, when I started GGC, it hasn't been smooth sailing. It hasn't been easy. Luckily, we got through and I got through with a lot and it helped me grow. And I was able to do some things that, it expanded my mind. I became more mature and know how to do my finances right and know how to be an adult. So sometimes you have to go through the hard stuff to get through the good stuff. Yes. But these students at this particular institution, y'all, they went through a lot to where they didn't really trust going to a counselor that was hired to talk to these students and recommended stuff. These students came to me. Now, granted, if it's saying, hey, if you harming yourself, then I legally got to report it, right? Legally, right? But students just need an extra listen, an extra ear to hear. And that's what some of it is what I did, right? Because I'm a good person. And as a director, hey, I'm serving my community. You want to talk about a class that you having trouble with? Okay, maybe I can help you out with that. Talk to me, right? At this institution, you can tell there was a lot of it was a lot of it was a lot of and I'll say it was a lot of mean girl energy. And not to say that I don't work with females well, because I do. I have a lot of female coworkers. I got a lot of male coworkers, but I'm different, right? I don't like the mean boy, mean girl energy. I don't. I don't like the bullyish mentality. I don't, because I've worked in jobs where there was a lot of bullying. I've been in spaces where there was a lot of bullying. And I don't condone bullying, especially for us being hired educators. But yes, I like to think of myself as an educator. Educators and adults, I don't like that space. I think adults should not be bullying other adults because we're adults. That's something that we've experienced while we were in middle school, high school, right? So it was a lot of that going on in that institution. It's a lot of bullying. It's a lot of, hey, this director is doing something wrong. Let me bully this. Let's gang up on them. Right? I didn't partake in that. When the full team would go to lunch, it was divided, man. It was half the team on one side of the dining hall, and then the other half was on the other side of the dining hall. We did not rock with each other well. And that was a problem because I thought we would be a unity for our students, right? That what the plan was. And the director of housing, she was so goddamn blind, she did not see it. And that was a problem. So silly me trying to unify everybody, right? I try to include everybody in the conversation, right? If there's something in development that we're doing for that certain department, let me unify everybody, right? So that way everybody can get along with everybody. So we're serving the great strides of our mission. And our mission is our students. I say to anybody who work in education, your mission is your students because your students is your payroll, right? Because education is getting a little weird out here now, right? Because we all know who's in office now, right? And I pray to God that our education doesn't get defunded because, and not to get political, but this is a big factor. Students are our biggest factor if you're working in education. No students mean no funding. No funding means no job, right? So it was a lot of that. And there was a lot of tasks that you parked behind a desk. And this is the moment where I started to feel a little bit lonely, a little bit sad because I was parked behind a desk. And not to say that there's nothing wrong with that because I can handle tasks well, right? I understand the assignment, but it's boring. It is. And you're sitting there doing spreadsheets, creating schedules, doing more spreadsheets, creating more schedules, making certain items needed. And I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to say what department it was. It was just a lot of that, and I handled it well. But damn, is this it? Right? To the point to where my old supervisor, we butt heads a lot. Y'all, I'm gonna tell you, that lady did not like me. No, she did not. No, sir, no, ma'am. She did not like me. And I felt that realm to where I'm doing the task well, but there was a different way that I did it that this lady did not like. She hated the way I did. I got it done. I like to do things and when trying to get a task done, I try to figure out a different way to do it so that way to the point where I understand it because I got to be the one who do it. Right? I understand supervisors, they want you to do it their way because it's their way. But sometimes you got to let your subordinates figure out, okay, maybe there's a different way of doing it. Maybe there's an easy way of doing it, right? If there's an easy way of doing it, let me do the easy way that I understand because I'm going to be the one who's in charge. It was a lot of micromanaging, right? Where I would do it a different way. She didn't like it. She was like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? Well, because I did it this way because I understood. Because I got to be the one who's in charge, right? If you want it done your way, you might as well just do it. But I need to figure out a way that I understand it, right? Nick picked about that. When I try to unify people at lunch, did we all eat together? It was a problem about that. When we're at a Zoom meeting, right? I had a question about something. Oh, well, Kitty, I'll talk to you about it later. Don't worry about it. I couldn't even answer. It was one meeting I went to. I tried to answer. I tried to ask a question. I was so scared to ask a question because I'm looking over at her and like, okay, is she gonna shut me down if I ask a simple question? So I said, okay, let me go for it. I asked the question. Oh, Kennedy, don't worry about it. Shutting me down. I'm like, damn. Can they answer? I asked them, not you. It was a lot of that going on. To the point where, and I think a lot of subordinates, a lot of employees, y'all got to understand this. Y'all got to understand this part. When a supervisor writes you up for every small little thing, and I mean every small little thing that really is not important, but they write you up anyway, then that's the tactic that I start to feel. And this was more in February, March. Now we're fast forwarding a little bit, February, March. That's the point where they're trying to get rid of you. Every HR knows about this. Every person knows about this. When a boss writes you up for every small, silly little shit, then they're trying to get rid of you. They're trying to quiet fire you without a shadow of a doubt. Now, I appreciate this institution because in February, we filmed Street Style Forever. And I said, in February, I'm depressed. Mentally and physically, I'm not feeling it. I'm going to New York. I'm going to forget about this institution for a week. I'm going to forget about all my responsibilities here for just 1 week. We went there. We filmed. You guys can hear it too. In the documentary Street Style Forever, me and Ryan, we went to Wagamama, and the supervisor, she got really sick. She had a fever as I was leaving, and she said, hey, yeah, we were talking about the cold, and she's like, yeah, my supervisor, she got real sick, but karma's a bitch for her. I meant that shit because, I was going through it, and she got sick, and it was just, I was like, karma's a bitch, ain't it? But when I got back, and we're fast forwarding a little bit, February, March, I got back, ready to work. And this is what I said, y'all. My throat is sore. So, I'm talking, throat sore. I got to pop one of these in there. So give me 1 minute, y'all. This is what we do on the wrap up. We live. I'm live and in person. So we, excuse me. So February, March comes around, and the drama still continues, right? But I started to notice, and I've noticed this months before, like December, January too, where other directors were just sick of it. Other directors were getting bullied by a certain type of group. This was the mean girl energy. And I'm sorry, my ladies, I'm not calling every female mean girl energy, but these were the ladies I worked with. This is the mean girl energy, right? To where you had the mean girls team up together to bully the other people that cared about their job. So it was a lot of that. I was getting bullied. Another director was getting bullied. Two directors were getting bullied. And it was a lot of miscommunication. It was a lot of hatred. It was a lot of shit talk behind somebody's back. I remember one time we went to our area meeting, and my supervisor and the other mean girls, they were just talking shit about another director that was in a different building. And I said, hey, why are we talking shit about this person? She's really good at what she does. And let me tell you, the lady that I know, she was phenomenal at what she did. Because of the circumstances she had, she was phenomenal at her job. She was so good at it. So I would go for her to advice, right? Because I couldn't go to my supervisor at that time, my old supervisor, because I felt like I was going to get bullied and screamed at because I asked her questions. So she's not easy to approach. So I'm going to go to somebody else who's more friendly and can really sit down and show me. So it was a lot of that going on, and it was just a lot of shit talk behind people's back. And I said, okay, this is not the position I applied for, right? This is so not the world that I wanted to be in. I'm depressed. My mental health, and we had lunch. I was eating like a fat ass because I was just so depressed and I was gaining weight, right? And I said, no, this is not what I wanted to do. This is not what I envisioned this position to be. I thought this could be something life-changing, but no, this is not. So March comes around, And March was very, very pivotal because March starts coming around. And when March happened, everybody starts leaving. Everybody resigns. And when I say everybody, I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying a lot of people did. Right? We've had one of the head directors, so a step above me, he left. Surprisingly, right? Because you know when you get the email like, "Hey, I'm out," he's out. He gone. One of the ladies that worked in HR that I reported this stuff to, and let me back up because in March after he left, what happened? Oh, I was responding to a student email. And it made me late to a meeting, but I made the conscious decision, like, let me respond to the student email real quick so I can and then I'll make it to this meeting, right? And I'm responding as quickly as I can, but more efficiently as I can. Showed up to my meeting with my supervisor, and I said, "Hey, my apologies. I was responding to a student email. It was kind of urgent, but I'm here from the meeting. I apologize for being a little tardy, but I was responding to an email. I can send you the email I sent to verify that I was sending an email. I wasn't like just goofing around." This lady said, "Hey, I'm not ready." He said, "Hey, you late. We're not doing the meeting." She said it with a mean ass look on her face. Like she looked at me like I killed somebody. How mean it looked. Like I am going to be pled guilty and sentenced 25 years in prison. Look, that's the look she gave me, y'all. And she says that, and she said, "Well, it's going to be another write-up." I'm like, "Oh, really? You writing me up for this?" So I made the conscious effort, like, all right, fuck this. I'm going to HR at this point, and because I hate to cuss like this, but yeah, I said, fuck this. I'm going to HR. I'm reporting your ass because at this point, you trying to get rid of me. At this point, I know what you're doing. It's the mind games. And I played into the mind game because, again, this was mentally affecting me. It was physically affecting me. I was so angry. I got in my office and I wanted to throw all my stuff around the office, but I had to remain my decorum. But it got to me. So I went to the HR lady, went to her about the problem, and I shed a tear, right? Typically, I don't cry about a job. I don't. But I cried to the HR about this because this was a job that I thought I would love. This is a job that I was so interested in. This is a job that I worked so hard from, right? Because I left one institution to go to this institution. And my old institution before this one, I enjoyed. The only thing I didn't enjoy is the commute to work at this very old institution. But I loved it. I had no problems with my old boss. My old coworkers, I had no problem. It paid okay. I did what I needed to do. I was getting raises each year because you know how like your pay increases each year. I was getting that, and I was there at that old institution for about 2.5 years. So I was exceeding my expectations at this old institution. It was great. The only thing was the commute. And then in this institution, the commute was a little bit more convenient for me. I'll say that, right? So that's why I made the switch, because I thought this would be, and I was an assistant at this old institution, and then I was going to be a director at this one, right? So pay was a little different. But boy, howdy, yeah, I cried to HR. I said, hey, I'm having some issues, and I was telling her everything that I've experienced. And I said, honestly, this has not been a very, very fun experience for me. It's a lot of mean girl energy. It's a lot of bullying. It's a lot of this going on. And I said to her, sorry it took me so long. I tried to figure it out. I tried to wave it out. I tried to get her to like me. You know, she was not budging. And then there was the moment that I know that moment that I know that everybody is not going to like you. I didn't know that at the time, but now I know that now. In 2024, I know that now. Everybody will not like you. And I'm okay with that. But at this time, I tried to get this lady to like me because we have to work together. There was not an option at the time to switch supervisors. There was not really that time to do that. So I'm like, I tried to figure this thing out. I worked my damnness to get her to like me and for us to be friends at least, so we can work together. We're not friends. No. So I aired out the dirty laundry that's going on because, some people might say whistleblowing and tattletaling or snitching. But in this instance, I don't think it was snitching. It was, hey, this is the things I've experienced. What can we do to not have this happen again so we can continue the term? Right? So she says all of that in consideration, goes back to the office. And then I want to say about the next 2 days, the supervisor didn't talk to me. After that, it was stone cold. And she haven't been talking to me before that. But if she haven't talked to me before that, boy, howdy, y'all know she didn't talk to me now. After I went to HR, she didn't speak a word to me. She did not say a peep to me. I could have messed up on something. She would not say anything. It was uncomfortable. It was cold. It felt awkward because our offices were in the same building. It felt super duper awkward. 2 days later, we have a meeting. Supervisor, HR lady. But wait, before we had that meeting, the HR lady, I guess she was interim HR, I guess. She was like the middle person. She, 2 days or 1 day before that big meeting we had, she announced to everybody that she's leaving. She's leaving the institution. I said, well, damn. I cried to her and complained to her about this, but now she's leaving? Something ain't right. Either this lady knows what's going on in this institution and she's decking out. Either she knows about the bullying mentality and all the bullshit that's going on in this institution and she don't want no part of it no more. And she found a new job. She said, hey, I'm out. That's what happened. That's what I know. Because I'm a very smart man, y'all. I can put 2 to 2 together. I'm very smart at this. She's out. So she announced, hey, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be gone. I'm resigning. I'm going to a different position at a different institution. I'm growing. I'm out. See y'all later. Have fun. I said, oh, okay. And then when I saw this email, I was like, okay, so what's the point of having this big meeting if you're going to be leaving anyway? So fast forward to that big meeting. It was my old supervisor, HR lady, that's now leaving in 2 weeks, right? Comes to my office. We've had a conversation. And I said, I said my piece again. I said, hey, I said to this lady, I said, hey, lady, I believe you don't like me. I believe that you're writing me up for every smaller thing just to get rid of me. I don't know where we went wrong because you were so nice when I met you. But maybe that's just part of your game, your tactic, right? We met. You were so nice and bubbly. I like, damn, this is dope. She's a real dope chick. Like, she's a little stern, she's a little bit blunt, but okay, chalk it up to your personality. But after this meeting, no, this lady has issues. This lady has issues. And within the month of March and April and Christmas time, I believe she was going through some stuff, right? And thank God I didn't say her name because I'll say this, I don't care. Her mom died, right? Her mom died 2 years ago, I want to say. So I get it. I'm blessed that my mom is alive and healthy. We just celebrated her birthday, right? I love my mom. My mom is my best friend. Alongside with my family member, my mom has been my rock this year. And Mom, if you listen to this episode, we're chalking this episode to you because there's a lot of you in this episode. We'll get to at the mid and end of the year, right? So I get it. I completely understand. Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, you don't have your mom. I get it. That's why I tried so hard to do right. To get her to like me, to get her to be happy again, right? Because I'd still lose my mind. I get it. My mom's mom, my grandma, she died in 2021. My mom still thinks about her. I still think about my grandma. Right? So I understand. I think this lady needed therapy. This lady needed God and prayer first. Then she needed therapy. And it'll help you heal, but it won't let you get over that your mom has passed. You're never gonna get over that. You never. I get it. I'm not gonna say that, hey, get over it. No, I can't say that. But I can say the power of God and prayer and therapy helps cope with that. And that's what this lady needed. I cannot count the countless nights that I prayed to God in this position to get me through because I wanted to make an impact and a change. Every day I've been bullied and manipulated and not physically, but mentally abused. I pray to God. I pray to God to give me the answer. What am I doing wrong? Is it me? Is it them? What's going on? I'm praying to God. Show me a sign, right? Here's the sign. To everybody's listening, here's the sign. We had our meeting. I expressed my concerns. She expressed her concerns. Do you know what the motherfuckers did to me? The mofos put me on a performance plan. You guys want to know what a performance plan is? And I'm spitting game. This is free $1 million game worth for free right now. If anybody gets put on a performance plan, that means that they want you to screw up so they can legally fire you with no regrets, no remorse, and no angle. A performance plan is, hey, you got to do these certain tasks at this certain time. And if you do not, we have the right free rail to get you on probation. Go on probation, screw up, damn, you're out of here. You're fired because you used at least in paperwork. And it sucks that people do this, but we are in the state of Georgia and you're an at-will employee. So they can do it. Right? I could walk in the office and I can drop some paper on the ground. Oh, you're on probation. They could do that. That's what they did. And another thing that they did to add on the bullying, they put me on a performance plan. They gave me a boatload of crap to do. And if you did not perform these duties, then you're on probation. They made it to the point where it was impossible for me to meet those deadlines. So after that, I was upset. I was outraged. But remember when I said to y'all, where's the sign? Here's the sign. I prayed to God to give me the answer. Right? I shout out to the good man upstairs. I said, Lord, I'm in a pickle. I don't know. So I prayed to God. I called my mama and I called my sister. And then after that, I called my little brother. After that, I called my dad. And I called all these people because if anybody knows me, I hate to fail. I'm allergic to it. It sucks. My pride gets in the way. My ego gets in the way if I fail at something. And all of them reassured me that if I resign, the Lord told me upstairs and my family said, if you resign, this is not a failure. This is going to be a small setback towards your happiness. Because working at an institution, I was not happy at all. It wasn't the position that I wanted to do. It wasn't a whole lot. But in my head, because again, remember guys, I hate failing, right? My family members tell me it's a setback. God told me it was a setback, and I believe him. But a part of me is like, damn, I failed. I left one job, a good job. I left that to go to another job that failed me. Damn, how can I be such an idiot? That's what my mind was saying. So here's the sign, guys. And it's going to be positive going. The rest of this podcast is going to be a positive, right? Because it's been nothing but positive towards the end of the year. But we got to get through the rough patch first. Comment below if y'all like it. So I pray to God. I call my family members. I let them know what's going on. I remember when I called my sister D'Amber, she felt for me. I cried to her a lot because between D'Amber, my little brother, and my mom, and really all my family members, I can get advice from them, but there's certain types of advice I can get from certain people. So I called D'Amber because she's worked a little bit in HR. She's been in something similar to this. I said, D'Amber, I need help. I am struggling. They got me on a performance plan. They about to fire my ass. That's what they did. So my sister said, hey, this is not a failure. This is a setback. And then after that, I said, okay, this is the decision I'm going to make. I'm going to resign, right? I'm going to resign because this is not the decision I thought. And I would rather resign before you try to terminate me. I have never been fired from a job. Never in my life I've been resigned from a job. Been fired from a job. I've only resigned from a job at GGC because it was student worker. It was a student workship and I was graduating, so I had to resign. I couldn't work because I'm graduating. And all the other jobs I've had before, I've resigned for better. And I left on good terms. The last position, I left on good terms. Right? If they were to say, hey, Kennedy, you want your old job back? You can have it back because you left with us on good terms. You can have your job back. Will I do it? Probably not. But there was an option. So going into March, and we're getting a little bit of April, I said, I called, and I won't name the old job that I called back. And I said, hey, you guys got a spot? Okay, I'll come in, I'll come in part-time, temporary, get back on my feet. I just can't do this institution anymore. I just can't do it. My old good friend, but old boss at that old job said, hey, we got a spot for you. We get it. We understand. We can get you started next week if you want it. I said, yeah, let me take it. So then at this institution, I said, hey, I'm sorry. I prayed to God on it. I thought we could be different. I thought that we could make a change to our young students. I talked to quite a few students, guide them through some stuff, whether it's classes or not nothing personal because that's Title IX, but like navigating through courses and electives and what clubs you can join and just kind of be that listening ear, right? I said to my students, I say, hey, I wish all of you young, educated students, I wish y'all the best of luck. Best of luck in your journey. It's going to be one great ride, but you're going to go through some stuff. But that's part of being a young adult. Some of the students I talked to, they've been through something. I said, hey, I've been there too. But here's how education is so important. I've educated my students. I said, hey, but I believe it is time for me to resign. I believe it's time for me to go. A lot of students had asked me, hey, what happened? What's going on? I said, I can't tell y'all. But in my mind, I know that bitch is going to say something wrong. She's going to say that I suck. She's probably going to say that I cussed her out and that she fired my ass. Nah, but that's not the truth. So then that's when I went to the head director that I met that interviewed me, and we had such a great conversation. And before I was going to that, the next day, another director was leaving, and I still follow her to this day. Another director was leaving. She's going to a different department in the institution, but she's leaving. A couple of weeks after I left, another director left. And then another director left to go to a different institution in Atlanta. And then I heard another director left because she's getting married, right? You guys know the pattern, right? A lot of people are leaving because they notice the bullshit, right? So I went to and going back, I went to that director. I said, hey, I believe it is my time to resign. It was a shock for her. She's like, oh, damn, what happened? I said, okay, well, and I'm sure you've talked to the head HR lady before she left because she's gone at this point. I said, I'm sure you talked to her about what's going on, but here's what happened. Here's what's going on. And she says, how can we make it better? I was like, you as a leader of a great institution, because it's a great institution now, you guys got to step up. You guys got to understand there is some bullying going on under your nose, and you guys are so blind to see. And this is what I said. You guys are a little blind, just a little bit, because you're not noticing the bullshit that's going on. You notice how all your directors are leaving, right? Now, at this time, I've graduated with an MBA in business. I know this stuff. I hate it when people try to challenge my intelligence when it comes down to business and organization because I got a master's in this. I study this. So I know. You can't look at me like boo-boo the fool like I don't know. I know. So I told them, y'all, I said, hey, this is what's happening. And this certain department is going to crumble if you guys don't fix this. And it was like, man, she was like, oh, wow, Kenny, I didn't know you were feeling that way. Yes, my heart is broken to pieces to the fact that I do such a good job and I do a little extra and I get put on probation. I get put on performance plan because they felt like it, because they wanted to bully me along with other directors. I felt bullied, and we shouldn't be doing that and at this time I'm 28 and other people are like 30s and 35. We shouldn't be doing it in our early 30s. We're too grown for this. And I said, this institution has failed me. And in my mind, I don't recommend people going to this department because this department has failed me. I didn't fail it. It failed me. And it failed because I had to go back to an old job to pick myself up. But I prayed to God, y'all. I said, God, I can't do it. Show me a sign. This was the sign that God showed me. I said, all right, I understood. I need to leave. So I packed my office up. I'm leaving. And a big part of me felt so relieved, y'all. It felt like a lot of horse shit has lifted off my shoulders. It was like, you guys know I work out. It's like you're lifting a weight and then you put it down. You feel like, oh, damn, I feel good. I was still depressed. It affected me mentally. Again, I talked to my mom, my sister, my brother, and then I prayed to God, talked to God. I said, yeah, this is great, but I still feel like I failed. My heart is broken to pieces because I thought I had a team that backed me up. I thought I had people that cared for me enough to do really, really good. Right? And I say this to say, as a community, we have to do better, right? And I'm going to say this, and there's no race about it because I'm working on something. But it's weird that a group of people that look just like me, the same skin tone as me, they were against me. But now I'm working on a group of people who are opposite from my skin complexion, ready to ride for me. As a community, Black community, we got to do better. Because at this institution, it was predominantly Black, right? But they were against me. It was a lot of mean girl energy, bullying. Ladies, y'all got to do better. Men, y'all got to do better. Then you wonder why a certain type of race, they ride with you like, oh, well, what? Because they got our best interests at heart. And that's weird. It's twisted, in my opinion. So, and I say that again, I said at the beginning of this podcast, I might say some offensive things, but this is just how I feel. So if you don't like what I'm saying, you might just click off this podcast right now because this is just how I'm feeling. It's a good show too. Comment below. Let me get an air horn. Yeah. Comment below if y'all loving the episode. We got a lot to go, right? We getting through the tough stuff, but we'll get to the highlight because there's a highlight to this podcast. So I left. Weight's been lifted. Doing a little side gigs along with K.L.P Entertainment. We were filming movies, right? We did The Photographer. We were starting The Photographer, that movie, The Photographer, and then we did Eden Prime Code Atlas. So we're filming, and then we're doing a podcast too. And the April was about just filming and working, keeping my head down. Oh, and graduating. I graduated with my master's in project management. Let's get it in April. So that was the highlight of April. And then May comes around. We're getting into the summer months. May comes around. After graduation, now I'm starting to do my old gig, but now I'm starting to get a little antsy because now I want something that warrants my master's degree. Around in May, or a little bit before May, a little late in April, early May, I've applied for another institution. This was not under the same system, but another institution. Did 2 interviews, did really, really well. I said, okay, God kind of gave me this sign, but God gave me another sign after the end of this story. But I said, hey, let's try this residential thing again, right? Let's try educating. Let's try teaching of our students. Let's try a different institute. I can't go back to the same one. Let's try something different. So haircut, shaved, suit, interviewed twice. I met a great group of people at this other institution, and it was great. We were, interview went well. I said, hey, I might have a shot. Let me redeem my thing that happened in January, February, March. Let's redeem that in May, right? Or maybe interview in May and then start the fall season, right? Let's try this. Nope. Everybody get those emails where when you apply for a job and you interview twice and you gave them the most authentic self of yourself, and they send you an email say, hey, your interview was amazing. You will be so fantastic for this role. However, we've decided to go to another candidate. Happens all the time. It's a job market. I said, okay. I wonder why, because you had me interview twice, and I like to think I nailed it twice, and I have the experience, right? I have the experience to do what you're needing, and it's not on the same system, so it didn't matter how but nope. I said, okay, that was the sign, this from God to say, you don't need to be doing this. This type of work is beneath you. You got to keep going. You got to do something else at this point. And I said, all right, cool. I got it. I understand. May comes around. This was my 28th birthday, May 12th, if you guys didn't know. May comes around. We went to dinner with me and my family, and then I bought me some headphones. It was a great birthday. But since me, I'm getting a little older, right? May has been fantastic. It's been hot, but it's been really, really good. Just working, keeping my head down, celebrating my birthday, still filming, doing our thing, right? June comes around. June is very, very interesting. But before we get to, so June comes around and we started to travel more. So what happens in June, brother's birthday comes around, still working, still filming, keeping my head down. But we went to Las Vegas. Shout out to Vegas. Now, Vegas was fun. Vegas was fun because it was my first time in the state of Nevada. First time in Vegas. It was a lot of great gambling. I didn't gamble, but there was a lot of gambling. So we went for my sister's birthday. I'm not going to say the number of her birthday because I don't want to put her out on blast, but it was her birthday. So we went to Vegas. And let me tell y'all, we stayed at the Wynn Hotel, which is a glorious hotel. For all my couples out there, if you're looking for a good spot to stay in Vegas, stay at the Wynn. It's going to cost you a bag now. So I say to a lot of people, especially if you're young, work hard to stay at the Wynn Hotel because it is not a cheap ticket. It is a very expensive ticket, but we were able to work really hard and to do other business ventures, which we're not going to mention here because I don't, it's a company business. So I don't want to put that really out on blast on this public platform, but we did really well. We invested well and we worked hard. So we ended up going to Vegas. We stayed at the Wynn. I do recommend people, if you're in Vegas, if you don't stay at the Caesar's Palace or the Bohemian, stay at the Wynn. It's a great choice. It's luxury. The rooms are very, very nice. The view is very nice. Let me tell you, one thing in Vegas is so beautiful. It's hot. And it's definitely a different world. So I say to a lot of people, if you get heat exhausted quickly, I always say, because I brought it, things of water and a box of emergency to boost your immune system. Because it does get hot. You do get dehydrated at certain points. So that's why you got to make sure you drink a lot of water when you go to Vegas. Swimming pool is amazing. The city of Las Vegas is amazing. We went shopping, which is awesome to do. It's such a blessing from God to where you're able to go shopping and to really enjoy life. And, we didn't talk about work. We didn't talk about the family business. We didn't talk about other ventures we got going on. And I didn't talk about old jobs or anything like that. I didn't talk about none of that on this trip. I had such a blast. A lot of my friends, they text me when I post pictures on Instagram and social media like, hey, you living it up, ain't you, in Vegas? I was like, hey, this is my vacation. Vacation number one. Again, this is a blessing from God. So Vegas, now we're in June. We're in the month of June within the 2024 wrap up. Vegas was amazing. We stayed for about a week. We spent some money, but it was well spent. We ate good. I did see a room in the hotel, like a studio. Sirius XM does these shows in this space. And we walked by it. I'm like, oh, hold on, guys. Because I was with my family. I was like, hold on, guys. Let me take a look at this because this is cool, right? They're podcasting in here. So I took some photos, took some pictures. I'm like, dang, what do I have to do to work a show like this, right? So June wraps up with Vegas. We had a great time. 4th of July comes. 4th of July, shout out to 4th of July. Just a little bit. I say just a little bit. Because we all know our holiday is Juneteenth, right? But 4th of July weekend, we've done something that we've never done before. We've invested and we stayed at a mansion. And 4th of July, I threw a mansion party. And the mansion party was amazing because the day before we did barbecue like any family does on a holiday. We barbecue, we swim, we drink, we have a merry time. Me and my family members and my cousins came out. It was such a vibe, right? We were just so free, stress-free. I was done with school at this moment, and it was just so freeing because I was stress-free. And I threw this party, and I invited my current coworkers at that time. And remember the story about the institution at the beginning of this podcast? I invited the two ladies because two ladies are a good friend of mine. They were also the same position that I was in. We were all good friends. We were just trying to make something a difference of the institution. I said, hey, I haven't seen you guys in a couple months now. I'm throwing this big mansion party for 4th of July. Why don't you come on down? And when I tell you it was worlds collide, guys, because I've had current workers and my other two institution friends that I was so close with, they came to the party. So it was like in my worlds, different jobs that I've worked in, we bring them together. I loved it because current coworker was meeting old coworker. Old coworker was meeting other old coworker, right? It was such a vibe. And I say this. I say this now because the story about the institution at the beginning of this pod, the ladies tell me like, "Hey, you were the glue that kept the program together. You were the link that inspired so many students and so many other directors in the building. You were it." And they told me this, and I cried because I'm like, damn, this we could have made something different had I not been bullied. Right? And it's such warm words to hear from these two ladies. The ladies, they watch the podcast, they know who they are. They say within our circle, right? Because there were four of us. Four directors of us in our circle, right? We didn't keep to ourselves. We didn't have our clique, right? Because again, at the beginning of the pod, it was very cliquish there. We had us, but we branched out too. And they said, since you left, it has been tough, it's been lonely, and it's been hard, is what these two ladies told me. I said, yeah, I'm sorry. That's all I can say is I'm sorry. I mean, there's other stuff that, I'd say, hey, I've been bullied. I've been doing all of great work, but I've been bullied out of my position. I got mean girl energy on. I did, right? So they were telling me that another director left. No, two other directors left after I left. That was the story I said at the beginning, T. These two other directors left. I'm like, damn, they're not going to have anybody at the end of this term because everybody's leaving. So they were telling me about that, and it was, we caught up because they were my world, right? My current coworker was like, "Hey, Kennedy just vanished." I'm like, "Yeah, but these two are my ladies." So I had to catch up with them for a minute. So we had a merry good time. We danced, we played games, we drank, we played party games, we did everything. We had a curfew though, because at the time, at that mansion, we had a neighborhood ordinance, so we couldn't be loud at a certain time. So we had to leave the party at a certain time, but we had a merry time. It was great. And that was July. So I thought. A week later, me and my friends, shout out to the Mafia Squad. Yep. All right, so the squad and I don't want to say this was my first time out the country because I've been to Mexico in 2016. Shout out to them. July 2024, after the mansion party, and we just got back from Vegas in June. This trip was planned for months now. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was so good. We flew to Puerto Rico. It was just me and my close friends that I've known for years. We stayed in an Airbnb at a Sky Rise in Puerto Rico. That trip was so much fun because it was our first group trip out the country. And I say out the country, but really Puerto Rico is part of the U.S. with the alliance, but still kind of out of the country, I guess. Puerto Rico was so amazing because they had buildings, they had the nightlife, they had some amazing food, they had some amazing drinks, some of the beautiful women out there, the amazing chicken and waffles that we've had. It's hot. Puerto Rico is hot. But we went to the beach, then we went to the pool, then we went to a lot of restaurants. We went to the old town of Puerto Rico, San Juan. We went to the Bacardi rum factory. That was really, really fun. It was kind of a fun trip where we traveled a little, but we stayed in the city and we just relaxed. That was the whole purpose of the trip. And with me and my friend group, we got a little closer because we were close, but we got even closer with this trip. The plane ride there was a little bit weird because Delta was great, but I flew next to this lady. She was very, very musty and she smelled like wet dog. And then her husband was next to her. So I was sandwiched in. I'm like, lady, you stink. You need to take a shower. You need some deodorant or something because you smell a little rough. But when we got back, it was a smooth sailing back. And then we got back home. Puerto Rico, we stayed for about a week, and that was amazing. Again, another weight off my shoulders, stress free. And it was very, very exciting, right? It was very, very fun to do. Um, then you hit September. September was a very fun month as well. September was the month where now I'm starting to invest a little bit in our family business. So I'm leaving my old gig, an old job that got me back on my feet. At around September, y'all, I was back on my feet. I was, stress free. And then I prayed to God a lot, but I started going to church with my mom. And let me tell y'all, let me tell y'all this. If you guys never gone to church, if your religion is where you go to church, and if your mom or your dad, whatever you do, for me it's my mom, but if your parents ask you to go to church with them, go to church. Because in September is where, and shout out to Next Level Church in Monroe. This one's for y'all. Pastor Dion and Apostle, you guys are awesome. We gonna get that church podcast going. I promise y'all. We gonna have that rolling. But September in 2024 was the year where I started to go to church a little bit more. And the reason why I go to church more, because my mom told me about the church, and this is the church that she started to go to. And when she started to go to, she started, feeling better, looking better, feeling the vibe. And she said, hey, Lucas, you need to come to church with me just one time. So when I went to church with her starting in September, that one time, each Sunday now I go to church with her, right? Because it's a lot of emotion. It's a lot of people at the church that's going through something that's probably worse than what we're going through. And with going to church and praying to God, we've gotten better, right? Getting the family more together and really having a good time. It's such a vibe in September. And then in September 2024, business was rolling good. I said, okay, I need to dump my own gig, right? Because my old gig, I got a master's degree now. We good. I'm back on my feet. I don't need to be doing this, right? So, with the old gig, I said, hey, I'm sorry to leave y'all again, but hey, I told you guys this was temporary. They understood and they said, hey, well, Kennedy, we understand. If you ever want to come back, give us a call. I said, in my mind, I didn't say this to him, but I said, yeah, no, I won't. But thank you for getting me back on my feet from the old institution. I appreciate it. So I got back on my feet in September. And then in September, well, a little bit of July, September, my movie started rolling out, right? Intelligence came out in July. The Photographer in Eating Prime 2 came out in September, right? So I got new movies out on Prime. Podcasting is going really good. And then towards the end of September 2024 and October of 2024, that's when we formed the What Happened Was podcast. We went on tour for K.L.P Entertainment, and then our good friend Shell Purcell, she did a comedy special. So we had to go, we went to Mississippi and North Carolina. Those are two cities that I went to. Mississippi was good. Seeing Mississippi for the second time was interesting because it's not really much out there. It was like a 40-minute flight from Atlanta. So Mississippi was good. We had a good time premiering and people came out, and then I did my thing. You guys can see it on the channel too, the Mississippi, Biloxi, Gulfport podcast special. Y'all can listen to that. Y'all know how that went. Very, very good. But North Carolina was interesting because we stayed at the Omni. Let me tell y'all, when y'all stay at the Wynn or stay at a luxury hotel, you might not want to stay at another standard hotel, I'll say. Right? When you stay at the luxury type hotel, you kind of just don't want to go back. It's the same thing with me flying to Delta, and this is not a brag, guys, but flying to Delta to Vegas and Puerto Rico, once you fly Delta, you don't want to fly anything else. You just don't. You got to score up the money for it, right? I'd rather score up and hustle and get the money to fly a Delta flight. Nowadays, I would. So, we went on tour, and then North Carolina, we stayed at the Omni. Second time in North Carolina, by the way. We went one time when I was young. But North Carolina, we stayed at the Omni, downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. Had a good time, ate good. We went to the theater because we premiering the comedy specials in theaters. That was really cool. And I met this young lady. Shout out to you. Her name was Evelyn Letitia. Because we were promoting podcasting there too. I met Evelyn Letitia, and she said, "Hey, I'm hooked. I've been wanting to start a podcast for years now." And after that conversation with Evelyn, now this was another sign, right? Because God gave me a lot of signs this year. This was another great sign that said, "Hey, she's good. You need to do something in the form of a podcast with her. You need to do it." So after a Zoom meeting and a great conversation, we started a new podcast to where you guys can listen to it now. The What Had Happened Was podcast with me and Evelyn. Still rolling strong, and we got some new episodes. We got some new things coming out for 2025. So again, it is fantastic. Evelyn, that one's for you, honey. Thank you so much for being on this show. That show, and we love you. And you know, she's been rolling. She's been rocking and rolling with me with this show. So I couldn't ask for a better podcast partner than Evelyn, honestly. So I started to get better, you know. So that was the end of September, and now October's rolling around. And October gets very interesting because, you know, it's Halloween season. We were able to buy a lot of candy for our kids because obviously I stay in a neighborhood. So, you know, we give candy out to trick-or-treaters. October was good because it's trick-or-treating, and, you know, we're getting more healthier. It's getting a little bit more cooler, and holidays are around the corner. And then I'm working on some stuff. Still interviewing. At that time, I was interviewing for a lot of other positions, but, you know, once you get those interviews in, you know, you just kind of be patient. You kind of wait, doing the family business, and I'm living the best life, right? I'm staying humble, staying safe in October. It's been a very chill October. I've been going to the gym a lot more in October. It's been great. And then November rolls around. And November gets exciting because it's Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving at Mom's has always been exciting. November's been another chill month. I do want to back up a little bit because I do know in October was very interesting because in October I was able to get my mom a new car. Yes. Something I wanted to do for a very, very long time. Because as I always say, when you become very successful, you want to get your parents something that they've never had before, right? I won't put the car brand on. Well, I mean, sure I can, I guess. It was brand new BMW. I'm not going to name the specifics, but you know, I was able to get her a car of her dreams, right? And it was easy to do, and it was a lot of factors that go into it, and she loves it, right? And able to give her something very, very special. It is quite amazing. So that was the highlight. Again, another sign from God. Do this for your mama in October. And I was able to do it. And now fast forwarding to November, Thanksgiving comes around. We're blessed and highly favored. I'm going to church a lot more. Every Sunday I'm in church with Mom. Right. And it's been a journey, right? Working out, meeting some new people. I met some newer friends also in November. It's been very, very great. And now we move forward to December 2024. This month, but this episode is going to come out before New Year hits. But this month was very, very interesting. This month in a little bit in November and then December, I reached out to my good friend. My good friend reached out to me, actually. Mr. Matt Mahoney. And I got to give him a shout out because he did just text me just now about a gig that he needs some help with. And I'm sure Matt listens to the podcast. Matt Mahoney. Matt Mahoney still is. Matt Mahoney is a good friend of mine. He was, but I'm making it sound like he passed away. He's alive. He's alive and well. He got 3 kids. Shout out to the 3 kids and Miss Allie, his wife. But Matt Mahoney is a gentleman that I worked for when I did sports production at GGC. Shout out to GGC. Still the best boss I've ever worked for. There was no ego. There was no bullying. There was no hatred. He was on the same mission to build something great for that institution. And I'm proud, still proud, to have worked with him for 5 years as a student worker. Because at GGC, I'd say GGC changed my life for the very good, right? Because I've had so much fun at GGC, not as a student, but as a RA, as a producer, director, videographer, and first ever president of that sports network when we became an RSO. Proud. But in 2020, I graduated, right? So I couldn't work for him as a student because I'm a graduate at this point, right? November, December, where I've going to church, life is good, we're blessed and highly favored, family's healthy. I had some free time. Matt called me up and said, hey, I need some help. I need a cameraman. I need a videographer. I need a producer. I need help. I didn't blink twice. I didn't hesitate when he texted, hey, I need help, Kennedy. Okay, I got you. Where and when? What time and date? Proud to do it. Now you saw it on my Instagram. I'm going to basketball games and we filmed some football games under his name, right? It was a week, right? We filmed a lot too. It was a lot of filming, down to GGC soccer finals at the championships, down to Pace Academy, down to Georgia high school football games that were going on at the time, right? We were there, right? Giving them the best show. We had lunch, he asked me for help. I said, hey, I got you. We caught up. He wanted to know about what happened at the old institution. I said, hey, here's what happened. Gave him a full story. He said, man, it seems like you've been duped a little. I'm like, yeah. Talked about that. But as we go forward, helped him out with the production, and it worked, man. It was fun. It was the most fun I've had this year alone than I've had in the last few months prior to that, right? It was so much fun to kind of be in the element to where I ain't got to stress no more, right? I'm always going to be an advocate for, if you work at a job, your job should not be stressful. Your job should not have bullied you. And I'm not going to say that I'm one of the great angels, but I'm an angel. I feel like I'm an angel, right? I feel like I'm one of the people that's really dope and really sweet, really nice, and want what's best for everybody. And it's not fair to someone like me of my stature that gets hurt, right? So helping him out November, December, it was great. I know he's good, but I still pray for him because Matt Mahoney got 3 kids now. So I get it. But he's a good friend of mine. He was an old boss, but he's still a good friend of mine. We still text. We still catch up every now and then, and we still look out for each other, I asked him every time we texting about, hey, I need help. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got you. So by the way, how are things? How are the kids? How's Ms. Adley? How's your life going? How's your parents, right? I genuinely want to know. Because they gave me so much goodness and grace and blissfulness over the years, I got to return the favor. Right? And I told Matt when I did it, I'd do it for free. But Matt said, hey, what's your Cash App? Paid out. It was good, too. That paycheck was good, too. I'm like, oh, y'all, we rolling like, oh, okay, bet, But I would have done it for free. Now that I know that you're rolling like that, the money's money. But like, I would have done it for free. Would have, definitely. So turning the page from November to December, helping out a good friend. It was amazing. Christmas time is around the corner. Losing the weight, you guys see it on the podcast right now. I'm losing a little bit of weight. Gym is going good. Health is going good. This was another sign from God. I saw it on my social media. And when I post things on my social media, I said it then, I'll say it now. I don't post things just to say, haha, look what I got. This is a testament of hard work and staying prayed up and just kind of understanding. Because at the beginning of the podcast, we started low, right? We went through the trenches at the old institution at the beginning of this podcast. But here's the highlight. My life is better. I'm healthier. Besides a little bit today because my throat is sore. And hopefully I'm not getting tremendously sick. But throat sore today. But here's the highlight. In October, and I'm not going back and forth, but in October, I decided to go back to school. And if you guys don't know by it now, I'm in school right now, and I'm studying. And this is and I love saying it because here's the name of this program. It's the philosophy of organizational leadership. PhD, baby. I'm going to be a doctor in 2027. Let's get an air horn. Yes. Yes, in 2027, I'm going to be calling myself Dr. Kennedy Lucas Patterson. And the reason why I decided to go back to school because I didn't do it for anybody. I did it for myself. Right? No kids, not married. You know, I say very quietly, I'm not looking to do all these things now, but I got to be careful because I got family members who are engaged now. So I don't want to hurt their feelings, but that's not my focus right now. My dream is to do it for myself, but to show institutions that a man could do this and have a great heart. Because when I become a doctor, y'all, I plan on being dean of students one day. Let's get everybody. So I can show to myself that I could do this thing right. Because I've seen some dean of students. I've seen some great dean of students, but I've seen some bad dean of students who are power hungry. So now I got to show them right. Right? Who else to do it but Kennedy, right? But I say all to say, I'm doing this for me because I feel that being a doctor, first of all, being black and educated is the most important thing. That's something that I would tell a lot of students in the past, like, hey, you know, this is why it's important because you got to show up, right? You got to show up. Education is the most important thing. You got to show up in education because I say this to friends. I say it now. When you are educated, it gets you in those money-making conversations. When you are educated, you know how to move. And that's a motto of mine. And that's why I continue to go to school, get my PhD, so that way I'm more educated than I am now, more smarter than I am now. So I know how to move a little differently. And that's when that journey started in October, November, and now December. That's how I'm back in school. That was a blessing from God too, because my plan with school was to be a doctor before I hit the age of 30. I'm going to be 31 in 2027, so I'll be 31 when I get it. I wanted to get it while I was before 30, but you know, life happens. Things got in the way, but 31 is still a good number. As we near and dear at the end of this podcast, really, because we're in December now, December 2024, going to school, going to church every Sunday, praying, being blessed up. Money comes in really good. Investments are good. Everything is good because we know how to move. Hence why what I just said, when I post, I don't post to say, look, haha, look what I got. This is a testament of hard work. Your boy got a new car. Let's get everyone for that. New car. And I'll say, because I posted on Instagram. Y'all know what kind of car it is. 2025 BMW eDrive 40. Brand new. EV, electric vehicle. I've never thought I would have such a luxury car like that before in all my days, but it's here, is in my possession. By the grace of God, they made it happen. God made it happen, right? Testament of hard work. rolling deep in the gym, rolling deep at home. Testament of hard work. And then as we fast forward now, Christmas. Everybody's getting good gifts from me to my siblings, because that's the thing about each year. I try to give my siblings like a premium gift each year. This year was very good. Y'all see my story. Y'all know what my mama got from me. I got my mama for Christmas. She kept asking me, how did I pull this off? I said, don't worry about it, sweetheart. I got my ways. No, but really, hard work. Investing, finance, accountability, discipline, obedience, prayer, respect. These things get you those things. And it's not a, haha, look what I got, look what I'm doing. No, if I can do it, anybody out there can do it. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Because I tell you guys, I suffer from PTSD and anxiety, heavy. And unfortunately, there's no cure for that. There's therapy, but there's no cure. Right? But surprised my mom with a new bag that for her brand she loves, that Louis. You know, that all these things come into effect. And now we're celebrating her birthday. And now we're getting ready for the new year. So I say all that to say, and give you guys a full long hour, 30-minute podcast, a full story. Because had you been listening to this episode right now, this has been one hell of a journey of 2024. I won't repeat. You'll have to rewind if you want to. From the trenches of January, stress, anxiety, mental health affected, physical health affected, bullied, mean girl energy bullied on me. A lot of mean black guy energy bullied on me. A lot of bullying, right? A lot of unfairness, a lot of stress, a lot of screw jobs. Because honestly, I think I got screwed. I don't care what nobody say. I got screwed. But the grace of God, prayer, hustle, motivation, ambition, respect, obedience. I turned my January into the very, very highest of December. Right? And I wanted to tell you guys my story because I never really went in about how my year went. But it's been a roller coaster of a year. By far, I got to say, 2024 is my best year. And I know everybody say that because that's the only year, that's the latest year that we're in now until 2025. But honestly, 2024 was a test, a huge, big test. And I think it was a test from God. I honestly do. I think it was a test from God and say, hey, Kennedy, you're destined for greatness. I'm going to test you this year. How you going to move this year? And I got to say, I think I moved really, really well. By the grace of God and the grace of family and friends that love me and care. And I say as I wrap the podcast, with the old institution, I want to reiterate that. I don't say this out of disgruntled, because I'm not disgruntled, right? I'm blessed and highly favored. I hope that this institution gets the help it needs, and I hope that it strives, because it is a great institution. I'll give it that. It is so great. And I don't say that to say that all departments of this institution is bad. It's just that one gave me a bad headache. But it's not to say that all the other departments are not good, because I've looked at other departments. They're all pretty good. It's just that one department has to do better. I think when you're grown adults, you have to stop the bullying at the workplace. You have to stop it, because that's your crutch. That is going to hurt you when you start bullying other people, right? It's just a motivational thing. I'm not disgruntled. I'm not upset. And for my old supervisor, she knows who she is. I pray for you, right? I pray for you. I forgive you. No love lost, right? Because going to church, I learned some things. when you've been hurt by other people, you forgive them. So I forgive you. I do. You got me. And, in March, you got me. But I'm up now. And I don't think I make jokes about I'll make my jokes, right? Right. Because I'm a jokester, right? I make jokes. But in all fairness, I'm over it. Because I know I've got positions and opportunities coming. Some that's in the works right now that I can't really tell y'all about. But I got some good things going, man. That's in my rear view right now. Do I miss the two ladies that work there now? Yes, I do. I do. They're my good friends. They had a good interest in heart with me. I miss them. But when you move on and you forgive those that hurt you, you become out the better person. And I forgive you, but we're not best friends, right? I'm never going to talk to you again, but I forgive you. And I hope that you find peace. Again, like I mentioned, her mom died 2 years ago. I get it. I get it. I'm praying for you. I am. But I forgave those, right? Along with other people that was part of that party, I forgive you. All is forgiven. Because I know this year has been great. This year has been filled with excitement. There's a lot of greatness that happened this year that I can't really tell you guys about because it's family matter and it's personal. So I don't want to put them out on blast, even though it's good news. I just can't. And we've had some bad news, right? We had some bad news in May, which I think my dad won't approve if I say it, so I won't say it. But it's been rocky this road. So I thank everybody. I think to end it on a good note, I thank everybody who's been watching the podcast this year. K.L.P Aftermath. What Had Happened Was podcast. All the specials we did in Mississippi and North Carolina. Thank y'all. The movies you guys watched, The Photographer, Street Style Forever, Eden Prom 2. Thank y'all. It's been a great year, and 2025 is gonna be even special, and I can't wait because I turned the age of 29, so I'm getting older. But there's a lot of greatness that's coming for 2029 that I can't wait for you guys to see. And that's the wrap up. That's the wrap up of 2024. We hope that everyone has a fantastic rest of your holiday. Happy New Year. I do say to a lot of people, real quick, PSA, if you're going out for New Year's, please be safe. We aren't here in Atlanta, so you have to be careful when you go out. Walk with friends at night. Don't walk by yourself. My ladies out there in the world, I know it's you're trying to be hot girl winter, but please be safe on New Year's if you're going out. There's a lot of creeps out here. Be careful. But we hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your holiday. The next podcast, we're going to be in January. We're shutting it down the rest of the week. We're not doing nothing. But in the beginning of January, we'll be back with more podcasting. So that is the wrap up. And by saying that, the official 2024 season has come to a close. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. It's K.L.P Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.